If there was a pill that could lift depression, improve reading scores of dyslexic children, raise school performance, calm people with ADHD, blunt the cravings of an addict, and slow the process of aging, would you take it? Recommend it? You might, you would? Then why don't you exercise? And make sure your children do. I asked this after reading John Ratey's bestseller, Spark, The Revolutionary New Science of Exercise in the Brain. Ratey is a professor of psychiatry at Harvard Med and an adult with ADHD. His book is pretty technical, might be difficult for you if you don't have a science or medical background, but I do, so I loved this book. There's such helpful chapters about learning, stress, anxiety, depression, attention deficit, addiction, hormonal changes in women, and aging. Let me read to you from the chapter on depression. In Britain, doctors now use exercise as a first-line treatment for depression, but it's vastly underutilized in the United States, and that's a shame. According to the World Health Organization, depression is the leading cause of disability in the United States, ahead of coronary artery disease, cancer, and AIDS. About 17% of Americans experience depression, to the tune of $26.1 billion in health care costs each year. We've known for a while that exercise influences the same chemicals as antidepressants do, but nobody had done a scientifically sound head-to-head comparison until researchers at Duke University took up the task in 1999. James Blumenthal and his colleagues pitted exercise against Zoloft in a 16-week trial. They divided patients into 3 groups: Zoloft, exercise, or a combination of the two. The results? All 3 groups showed a significant drop in depression. 6 months after the study, Blumenthal and his colleagues surveyed the patients to see how they were doing and found that exercise worked even better than medicine over the long term. Blumenthal concluded that exercise was as effective a treatment for depression as medication. Every 50 minutes of weekly exercise correlated to a 50% drop in the odds of being depressed. Wow, that's awesome. So with results like that, why wouldn't you exercise? Of course, if you're taking an antidepressant, you need to consult with your physician before making any changes. And everyone, please, see your physician and get cleared to exercise before you start a regime. Now, I love to exercise because it makes me feel good. I'm not extremely competitive about it. I don't count my steps or use a Fitbit or other device. I want to enjoy exercise, so I usually don't push myself that hard. My key takeaway from Spark is that I need to pay attention to my exercise intensity. Ratey advises using heart rate monitors to determine exercise intensity. Maximum heart rate is often considered to be the number 220 minus your age and years. A low-intensity exercise is one that gets your heart rate to 55 or 65% of that maximum heart rate number. Moderate intensity is 65 to 75%, and high intensity is 75 to 90%. So one day, I decided to check my heart rate as I walked for 45 minutes on a treadmill. I was shocked. I wasn't even in the low intensity range. Well, what does that matter, you might ask? Let me read a bit from the chapter on regime. One of the key differences between moderate and high intensity exercise is that once you get closer to your maximum, and especially when you get into the aerobic range, the pituitary gland in your brain unleashes human growth hormone, HGH. HGH is the body's master craftsman, burning belly fat, layering on muscle fiber, pumping up brain volume. Researchers believe HGH can reverse the loss of brain volume that naturally occurs as you age. Well, hey, I wanted to burn my belly fat, layer on muscle, and I definitely am always interested in pumping up my brain. I still didn't want to push myself that hard when I exercised. I wanted to enjoy it and have a good time, and that's where I found the really good news in Ratey's book. One study from the University of Bath in England found that adding a single spurt of sprinting for 30 seconds, in this case while pedaling on a stationary bike, generated a 6-fold increase in HGH, which peaked 2 hours after the sprint. Well, 30 seconds of sprinting I could do, and once I started sprinting, either on my bicycle or as I was on a treadmill, it wasn't that bad. I didn't hate it like I thought I would. Sometimes I ended up sprinting for a minute or two, or doing 2 or 3 30-second sprints. I ended with a 45-second sprint. It was easy. I feel good. So maybe the next time you see me, you'll marvel at what the human growth hormone has done to help melt my body fat away, build my muscles, and maybe pump up my brain. So spark your health and fitness, and please go down below and leave your main health and fitness question, because Dr. Ratey, a board-certified psychiatrist and best-selling author, has volunteered to answer your questions. That will be my next blog. So thanks. Please share and like this video. This is Deb, the Book Talk Lady. Go out there and spark your fitness.